A very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yashasvi Jain, your host for the day, as we discuss about the new education policy with our guest of the day, Mr. Neeraj Kumar, sir. Amid all of your virtual applause, we welcome you, sir. Before we start, I would like to tell you that Sir is a school teacher at DPS Bokaro Steel City, a former Delhi University Student Union president. So we are really glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Yashasvi, and it's always a pleasure being the part of this young squad. So, same as this side, and I hope this evening will be really meaningful.
We hope the same, sir.
Yeah.
Before we begin, I would like to say that education is the kindling of a flame, not filling of the vessel. And this is what we plan to go through with Sir today in Sir's guidance. That is the flame of education kindled in the right way this time? So, without wasting any time.
Yes, Yashasvi, this is the question I was expecting. And after this policy was brought and it was notified to this government, through this government, this question is the first and I suppose the last one, that is this policy going to change something or bring a kind of revolution, or the things we are discussing, the challenges we are facing will be curbed? Without giving any phrase, the direct answer is no, not much. And this can be a very long looking, like 60 pages policy. And after I got this invitation from Atom to Byte, I started reading it. After reading, I found that it is the same letter packed in a different envelope, only thing some changes have been made. Because, okay, first of all, let me make it clear that it is policy. And through your interface, I want to tell everyone who has kind of an apprehension or a panic regarding this new education policy that what will happen in the coming 2 years, things will change. So number one, this is not a legal document. This is a policy made by the government. It happens that a government comes, they make some rules and regulations regarding the change in the educational system. But that may lie in the cupboard for years, and even after 10 years, we find the same thing happening. They will not implement, they're not bound to implement each and everything they have said. Now, it is a sensitive one because this is presented by a government who is a sensation in itself. At the beginning, I thought that it could be communal. There may not be some space for that much space for secularism and different things. But it is not that way. Some of the key features, let me share, which everyone is knowing these days. So what it says that there should be a compulsory education from 3 years to 18 years. Previously, it was 6 to 14. That was what presented in 1986, which was extended in 1992 in the Narasimha Rao government. So 6 to 18 years, that means they want to say that the education should start from 3 years. At the cities, it is fine. But Yashasvi, if you look at the villages of our country, I don't think that any 3-year child will be going to the school, not because they don't want to, because we don't have any arrangement for the creche and the pre-nursery, baby pre-nursery. That infrastructure somehow is missing out. But if they say 3 to 18 years, compulsory education and free education, fine, that sounds so good. That's what I said. It's a new envelope, looks beautiful, sounds grand. If it is implemented, obviously it will be a revolution, because they talk about Anganwadi, they talk about all the small scale schools working at the regional village level. But if I see the implementation with the infrastructure available, sounds a little panicky. Now, second point comes that they are talking about breakfast with a midday meal. When this midday meal was started, it was a kind of good news for all. It was believed that the students who don't come to school will come because they are given food, and for the food and for the sake of nutrition as well as education, that will motivate them. But if you collect the data from different parts, you will find that it's only the food distribution center. The turnout of the students for the schools actually is not that way because there's no one to care. There's nothing legal about it. Children can come, cannot come. The villagers, parents, the DOs, and everyone in the administrative wing. So they add the breakfast. If it is given to the children with some good quality, it's all fine. But the question, every policy, every framework, and every single point of this policy will get this question: can it be happening? So if it is happening, well and good. Now this RTE change starting from 3 years to 18 years, then so much they are saying about the recruitment of the teachers. They expect that it should be a commissioned recruitment. There won't be anything like Shiksha Mitra and para teachers and all, because the quality of teachers matter a lot. That is again a very good move. Now they say that in the higher education, which I don't think will take us to the rural problems, that comes after the schooling. So after schooling, if you think of this policy, they are saying that there should not be any specialized disciplinary universities like IITs and different engineering colleges. They say that all the private colleges, foreign universities, they should be multidisciplinary. That is good. That is really good if it can be brought. We also want a heterogeneous format. But the question is how? And one thing, after saying this much about some of the points, sharing some of the points of this new education policy, I will be adding time and again on your different questions. One thing to everyone, I want to say through your platform, that see, education and medicine, the policy is made by the government, and you can check the policy only when the government is ready to implement that. But unfortunately, if you think like we have so much for the generic medicine, so much for the health schemes, we get so much advert, so many brand ambassadors who come and they propagate for health, medicine, nutrition. But if you go to a hospital governed by Indian government or the state government, you find it's totally defunct. So there is no use of all those measures they have taken. Similarly, education and medicine at any strong nation. Like if you are talking of a country, this is a state responsibility. Like it is the state's responsibility to make the school, to create the pattern of the studies there, to recruit good teachers. But I can bet that most of the primary schools in almost all the parts of this nation, especially the eastern part, you don't have even a library. You don't have indigenous classrooms. So this education system at the government level has failed. I'm sorry to use this word, but it has literally failed. And even the government teaches children. They don't prefer to go to the government schools. So once the schools run by the government does not function properly, and then they talk of RTE, then they talk of bringing critical thinking. Now, this is a very good thing. It is said very loudly that through this new education policy, the students should develop a critical thinking. They should not be a rote learner. They should be creative. But Yashasvi, you'll be surprised, and this is a very common news of these days, that the moment you start having a seminar without the permission of the VC, I hope you will face so much of the atrocities. So on one side, they say of creative learning. On one side, they talk of vocational education. Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's a kind of great phrase. Now it's floating around the world. A self-reliant Indian. I don't know how this self-reliance will come. Because the moment you question, the moment you have a topic of the social interest and you start debating in the college premises, you will find the police coming and charging upon you. So saying it in the books is one thing. Framing it as a policy is one thing, but implementing it in the same way, that really makes everyone think. Otherwise, if you think like 3 languages Right from 86 it is coming. Common education for all. Indira Gandhi said that in, you suppose, 68 only. That was the time when the first time this was framed that there should be a common education program for all, and there should be a scheme which should bind the different religions, communities together. Well, Rajiv Gandhi further strengthened that. And when Narasimha Rao came, he took the things in the interest of that time, where he promoted this professional courses, common entrance exam, three exams for IITs, NEET. It was not NEET, it was AI, MDAT and MDAT, something like that, MDAT and PMT, MDAT, something like this. So pre-medical test, yeah. So three exam system he developed, and that was the time you saw that a flood came and everybody started going for engineering, medical. That was on common stream. And now this government says that, okay, fine, it's not enough because they don't have many jobs. There are so many engineers, there are so many MTechs, but they can't be consumed here. So what to do? They should, right from the very beginning, after 10 years, maybe the policymakers see that this nation will not have anything which is related to the government. Everything will be privatized. Government will be defunct in the sector of employment. So they say that, okay, come for the vocational training. But how this vocational training will be imparted? Unfortunately, that is not mentioned. So every government make the scheme or make the policies for education. They say that it is for the welfare of the public. But believe me, in the last 25 years, what I have observed, even from the college front and the university front, speaking to the people, to the common mass slum population and all, where children don't go to school. So there also I used to say this, that this is for your welfare. But now I realize after studying it, that it is in the government's interest. They somehow want their reign, their regulation, their rules to continue. They want public not to speak much against them. So whatever questions you can create, they shun away those questions. So this critical thinking, creative learning, vocational training, common education program, this is the same terminology which they have presented, and what they have added, 10 plus 2. They say 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. People say that what will happen? I say it is simply they have added pre-nursery, nursery and UKG, 3 years of the preschooling, which was not in the index of any school. They used to start from 1. Even I went to KV. So KV started from 1. You can do your nursery and also they have included this 3. And then it is 5 plus 3 plus 4 is all same. It is till 5th and then 3 plus 3 plus 4. So till 5th, till 8th and then 9th to 12th. So everything remains the same. Maybe the board changes the exam pattern with the changing times. But so far you see that this policy will bring a revolution in the education for the rural children. I don't think so. Because here also the government which is making this policy does not have any interest first, and they don't have that infrastructure with what they are these multidimensional and multinational schemes which sound so lucid in this information technology. So till now, the rural India has not received the computer labs, high-speed data connectivity. So these things are not there. Though it is very easy, if it is intention-wise correct, then this can be achieved. But the question is all about the intentions and the implementations. So your question was, will it make a revolution in the education system? I say no. This is simply a eye-washing. Eye-washing, they say that in 60 pages, they have written beautiful language. But if you see, the policy remains the same. Just they have given it a different haircut. More or less, the condition remains the same. Yashasvi.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, sir. Every coin has two sides, and before implementing a change on which the future of the country, the future of the nation depends, both sides, the pros and the cons, both must be pondered over. Changes are a part of life, and of course, the changes we go through, the changes are a must, because if we don't change, we aren't really living, and if we aren't really living, then we don't grow. Actually, we don't even grow. So changes are a must for growth and for making us feel lively. This itself brings a question here that, bringing changes in such a sensitive or a critical manner, I say, amid this pandemic, would you seriously think that it would be that fruitful it would have been if brought amid the normal times?
Uh, no. In fact, there are two things. I will say no also and yes also. Because if it was brought in the, like, I will take an example. You can be the best swimmer only once you have faced the drowning in the pool. Once you have faced this approaching sinking in the river or anywhere, and then you come out, then you put all your means. If you fight the dangers, then you are stronger in the future to face it. In the luxury, if you are thrown in the swimming pool, then you will straight away cry for the lifeline, and you might turn into a swimmer, but you will never be a champion. Now, you said that if this policy or these changes, this introduction of the IT tools or this technology was part of the education, school education, if it was brought in the normal times, would that be effective? I say it would not be implemented only. Nobody would have thought. Now, this is going on for the last 4 years, like attending some of the seminars from DP Society also and other schools, and talking to some of my friends in university. So they say that this is already a part of discussion. Then in the coming years, what will be the structure of the school? So we can use this multimedia, and from the study table, I can connect to thousands of the students, and they can take the benefit. Like many of the interfaces like Unacademy, Byte, they are doing, and they are doing well. But for the schools, until unless this had been a compulsory way and the only way, this would not have been implemented. So in other words, you can thank this pandemic that it blocked all the options, and it left the children only with one thing, that if at all you have to study, and the school authorities, that if at all you have to run the schooling, you have to use the mobile phones and this data connectivity, and so many of the links came. So initially for 1 month, 2 months, everybody was crying that no education is taking place, nothing good is happening here. But now after these 8 months, you can see that everyone is comfortable. Like when I ask the children today that are you comfortable online, offline, they say online, because they tasted it, and they tasted in the compulsion. So this new education policy also brought, implemented in this time, sounds grand. It sounds grand because they talk so much of technology to be used. They talk of GDP to be increased. But one thing, if any one of you have studied, cross-examine, they talk of 6% GDP, but in 86, it was already 6%. Even 68, first policy when it was implemented after Kothari Commission. Then that time's PM, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she had this provision. So in the books, this provision of 6% was always there. So what happened? Like we ourselves reduce it to 4.5 first, and then we increase it, and then everybody starts praising, wow, this is a revolution the government has brought. So we don't have the library, we don't have a newspaper going to the schools of the villages, and then we talk of the critical thinking, and then we talk of the student's question. Now, when the same question asks a question, the same student asks a question after reaching the university, then you find that, okay, he is anti-national, he is anti-social, these things kept. So this hypocritic move, that questions. But when you say that, could it be any change or any revolutionary change that we expect, it is the result of any crisis situation only. You can never have this in the times of luxury. Like if you are all fine, you will never try for any innovation or any new invention. So the taste of this technology and how schooling can take place from our drawing rooms and from our study tables for the students, teachers at the primary and then at the university level, you will have to be grateful to this corona for at least this reason, that they gave us another option, so that if we in future we want the policy to be made on this platform, will be accessible for us. So yes, thanks to corona for this reason.
Exactly. So there are very many things we all are blaming pandemic, but in some or the other way, there are some benefits. Actually, ample of benefits of this pandemic too. As my father always tells me that it's been 3 years I have been staying in hostel, and because of this pandemic, he could actually spend a lot of quality time with me. Along with my education, I'm able to spend time with my family. There are amples of benefits of this pandemic I see here.
Mhm.
With this, when we move forward, I realize that that this online education, as you said, that it has opened a new doorway for us. But at the same time, don't you feel that somewhere the practical knowledge is lacking? Like it's like we wake up, we log in into our classes, and there is no particular well managed timetable or disciplined schedule we are going through. Sometimes it becomes really monotonous to sit in front of screen for 8 hours, and then many a times we get distracted or something or the other, having a juice in hand and studying. This has made students quite relaxed about their study. So
You're
when
absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Yashasvi. And this is another part. This cannot be related to the first part, that how beneficial is this medium or this interface. That is another thing. Like driving a car can be a luxurious part, but if you are driving without proper guidance and without proper license, then it is a punishable offense. Same way, if you think that you're absolutely right, education is not simply sharing information. Like at +2 levels, junior secondary level, we could be fine that children are very much interested, they are well planned. So they are concerned only with the things being taught. So the classes, when conducted, they will attend it of their own interest, and things will be fine. But if you talk of schooling, that takes us to elementary level. Schooling is all about elementary level. That is from baby nursery to 5. That means 5 plus 3. Rest 3 plus 4 is person is matured slowly and can take it. So there, yeah, it has hampered, because you can't expect a 7-year-old child to be seriously sitting in front of the screen and attending everything. When you talk of school, you have the playground, you have the yoga room, you have the music classes, you have the assembly. There's a lot of interaction, physical, mental, emotional, all kinds of involvement is there. This direct face-to-face communication. So that is why no device or technology can replace this. So if it has to be chosen as an option, I'm sure that for higher studies, maybe all these interfaces can be proper and appropriate. But for the elementary level, for the smaller children, this will not serve the purpose because they need much more. But the question comes that if, like, there is a very ancient proverb, if something cannot be cured, that must be endured. It has been improved a bit. Like if you cannot escape something, if there is no other alternative, we should always try to have it best. Like I saw some nursery kids playing at my basement, and I asked one of the child, they were using Choo Choo TV. What this name for the first time. So they say, Uncle, this is Choo Choo TV. I say, what is this? Believe it, Yashasvi, the moment I started, it took me 2 days to go through all the videos they have. Really interesting. So we will have to change the way of our interaction. It's not that if it is option, then it is in our option, then we can choose between the classroom and the study room, this laptop versus the blackboard. But if suppose the blackboard is missing out, then we are left with this interface, and it has to change. This is a long prediction that in the coming times, robotics will take the place of the human man force, workforce, and the devices will take the place of human teachers. And machines are better. You can always get a better lecture and better things over there. So here we will have to change our ways of teaching, the content, the curriculum. It's not that a lecture method can do the things. It will have to be more interactive, more activity based, more integrated. That's what another one wing of the new education policy, that our classes should be more interactive, should be more playful. So children should be more into the games. So the curriculum and the things that we share on the screen or through the screen, that needs some revision, and after that it could be a little better. But yes, if you ask me, can this replace it without any damage? Can this be as good as the human interaction? Answer is no. It can never. No machine can replace the human beings, because machines can have intelligence, you can develop. Teaching and schooling is all about emotions also. Unfortunately, till now, machines don't have emotions. And we all wish that the machines must never have emotions. Okay, if they have emotions, then we will be in a different kind of trouble. Because if the machines get angry, we will be facing their anger. Yeah.
So, with this, talking about the technologies and the change of content in education, here's the next query: that do you think that the employment rate would be affected after some time? Like, to be more precise, introducing courses like programming and coding in at the school level, okay, which we are nowadays students are learning at their degrees during their graduation. So would it be like affecting the job opportunities, or like many people are taking it as a competition that Chintu thodi na hamari job leke jayega. It's like that, no?
Yashasvi, I will be, means it's, answering a question in a very direct way is always dangerous. But if you ask me personally, I feel that after 4 or 5 years, there won't be anything like job left for us. Employment will be getting pressure, and there will be challenge before the government to set employment for such a vast population. The way we are heading towards the multinational, associations, now universities, factories, and you are entering into the age of robotics. You can see the age of recession going on, even in the private firms, in the MNCs and all. Government sector is almost null and void now. You have these two important examinations, and for the last 5 years, you would have seen there is no job existing. Privatization is taking place. They say that since the government sector is not working, people after getting this employment come defunct, it's better to give it to the private sector. So employment, like as I said, education, then medicine, then employment. Take the example of Denmark. Again, I will share one more thing. Here, some people, some parties will be, you'll find that they are saying of unemployment areas. Those who did not get employment will be given some stipend money. Again, amazing is that. So when the sectors of the government, they are closing, they are sending it, or they are giving it to the private big tycoons. And big machines are coming into the operation. Softwares and self-driven technology is coming. I don't know what will be the picture of this IT industry after 5 years and 10 years. But if you ask me, thing like employment is slowly up to the saturation level, and everybody will have to devise some of the way to be self-employed. So this self-employed is, you can say, the baby child, the brainchild of this Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar self-employed. Now the self-employed, on this point, if you ask me, like every child is learning coding, every child is making some app. Now think for a while that if all of us start making app and all of us start developing some programs, all of us are into some of the personal inventions, then whom will we sell that app? And how that will be getting circulated? If all of us become vocationally trained, we develop our same, like the government is saying that, okay, fine, you can learn carpentry also from the school level. I think that somebody at class 12th is top class furniture maker. Where will he get the market? The market will be all captured by the time by the big industries which will never allow these small cottage industries to come. So you would have seen that for the last many years, not in the last 6 years to blame this present government, every government, whoever has been the part. So the day this MNC comes here, they kill the chances of your market whereby you will be going with your new discoveries, new inventions. You can develop how many apps you will develop, how many programs you will develop. There will be a point if all the lakhs and lakh 16, lakh 17, lakh children, if they start working on this coding and they all become the top coders, they all are brilliant in developing some software, then who will be using this software? That is the question which I think has not been addressed till now. Answer is, I hope, very, very far now. Because when you talk of new skills to be learned, then where will you use those skills? This is the question once when it was asked a few days back. One of my cousin brother was reporting that these type of questions, when you start asking the government directly or the secretariat directly, so they shut the doors and they say that everything has been planned. But in the policy making, these things are not mentioned. They say that, okay, through this new education policy, everybody will be a skilled student. They will learn so many different things. They will be given vocational trainings, vocational education. But then how it will be used? Like Narasimha Rao emphasized upon the IITians and his medical practitioners. So that was the time when Indian doctors and Indian BTechs and techs were called with great honor in different nations. Now you can see that they're also slowly closing the doors. So now they say about this vocational training so that you don't ask for any job, you will develop. The question is employment. So employment is slowly disappearing from this Indian index, Yashasvi. And in this way, they are trying to shun away all the battle on this reservation and this, communal things. So somehow I see that in the long run, they think of keeping these things away. They will simply say that now it's a talent and the skill which is working. And with that, with a limited seat, you will find a big mass, big population of the youngsters, skilled youngsters, educated youngsters, but unfortunately without jobs. So 2025 onwards, India will be under the direst crisis of the job.
Every policy made has some or the other loopholes. It just depends on us and the people, their perspective, the side of the coin on which they are being focused at present.
Yeah.
These sessions, that is why these sessions, I just love these sessions because, we get a new perspective to see the particular topic or the particular policy, like we are talking about the new education policy here. With this, I open the panels for our audience to find opportunity, to just use this opportunity at its best and to seek answers to their questions. Anybody wants to ask a question?
Hi,
So here is a
Yeah.
Sir, there's one thing that I wanted to ask. Okay, we have discussed most of the points like the pros and cons related to the education policy, but एक चीज जो हम हमेशा मिस करते हैं वो आज ही मिस कर रहे हैं कि सर जो स्टूडेंट लाइफ का प्रेशर होता है उसके बारे में या फिर उसके सिलेबस के मॉडिफिकेशन के बारे में कुछ ऐसा कुछ खास मुझे मिला नहीं. आप अपने नजर में सर क्या सोचते हैं उसके बारे में?
अरे ऐसा कुछ है भी नहीं. जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये सिर्फ एक 2+2=4. अभी आप 1+1+1+1=4. ये सिर्फ ब्रेकअप ऑफ द डिजिट्स ये बदला है. और आपका स्कूल पहले भी नर्सरी से स्टार्ट होके नर्सरी, प्रेप एंड केजी एंड देन 1 2 3 4 5 6 10 देन 10+2 होता था. अभी इन्होंने 5 मतलब ये 3 years ऑफ द प्री स्कूलिंग और फिर अप टू 5 दैट इज क्लास 2, then +3 that is up to 5, then +3 up to 8, and then +4 that is up to 12. So the structure is the same, and the syllabus may see they are making it easier. They are making it easier so that at the school level you don't question much. And if you talk about the social sciences, that I studied a little about the change in the humanities, so they are trying to mold it in their favor. You will find the chapters related to social interests, socialistic interests. The word like secularism, you will find a little less being used. So they don't talk of, they're removing such chapters which really find us debating, और जहां पे भी आप क्वेश्चन करते हो, जहां से आप क्वेश्चन करने की जानकारी लेते हो, इट्स टेंडेंसी, उसको थोड़ा सा इन्होंने साइड करके रखा है. साइंस को बहुत ज्यादा मैं स्टडी नहीं कर पाया, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि दे आर मेकिंग इट सिंपल. सिंपल मीन्स इजिली एक्सेसिबल, ताकि आप कम से कम +2 तक या 12 तक, तो +2 कहना मुश्किल होगा, डिपेंड्स व्हेन दे इम्प्लीमेंट इट, तो वहां तक कोई आपको मुश्किल नहीं आएगी. यू विल बी स्कोरिंग लाइक एनीथिंग, जैसा कि सीसीई में हुआ था हमारे इसके पहले वाले एग्जाम स्कीम में. सो कपिल सिब्बल, ही वाज ब्लेम्ड अ लॉट. तो मोर और लेस जब आप वोकेशनरीज को ऐड करते हो और मल्टी सब्जेक्ट्स को इंटीग्रेटेड स्टडीज की बात करते हैं, like when somebody is learning English, so in English only he can learn geographies, history, social science and all. So this integrated learning is already there. It's not a new thing for us. जब भी कोई आपको मैथ्स की बात, मैथ्स टीचर से आप मिलते हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं कि वो सिर्फ मैथ्स की बात करते हैं, वो अरिस्टोटल, अलेक्जेंडर सब की बात करेंगे. तो ये तो पार्ट ऑफ हमारा एजुकेशन रहा है. लेकिन हाँ, थोड़ा सा ये आसान बनाया जाएगा, एग्जाम्स को थोड़ा मोर स्कोरिंग रखा जाएगा, ताकि आप स्कूल लाइफ प्रेशर को फील ना करें, वो मिनिमाइज हो. और जब आप यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे आते हैं, हाई स्टडीज पे आते हैं, तो वहाँ ऑलरेडी मल्टी डायमेंशनल, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं. दूसरी बात कि अभी हमारा नेशनलाइज्ड और प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए रेगुलेशंस एक जैसा हो गया है. सो इट इज मोर इन्विटेशन ऑफ द फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी is to come, top-notch families who will love to send their children. लेकिन अब ये बोलते हैं कि हमारा वहाँ पे ह्यूमैनिटीज के स्टडीज होना चाहिए, साइंस में, टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ में, साइंस के साथ. तो कैसे होगा? इफ इट इज डन, वंडरफुल. टेक्नोक्रेट विल आल्सो हैव सम नेशनल इंटरेस्ट. लेकिन जब आप हायर लेवल पे सोशियोलॉजी और पॉलिटिकल साइंस के बेसिक टॉपिक्स को ही हटा देते हो, जहाँ क्वेश्चन ही करने का स्कोप है उसी को हटा देते हो, तो बच्चों को पता ही नहीं होगा. Like today, if you ask, they don't know about the modus operandi of the government. They simply say कि अच्छा ये certain government आ गया और यहाँ पे ये PM है, he is like this, he will do miracles and the things will change. But they don't know that how this economy is run, how the money flows and flows through the nation, how the policies start from a place and by reaching the bottom level, how much of it counts there. तो यस, कुछ आपको भी लगता है कि चेंज आएगा स्कूल लेवल पे, स्टूडेंट्स लाइफ पे, तो ज्यादा कुछ नहीं होगा. एग्जाम थोड़ा सा इजी हो जाएगा और मोरलेस चीजें वही रहेंगी. गांव के लेवल पे जितना मर्जी क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग और क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की बात कर लीजिए, until unless you give them the freedom which you will never give. क्योंकि जैसे आप फ्रीडम देंगे तो फिर आप, एक होता है ना कि आप स्टडी करते हैं, देयर आर टू फॉर्मेट्स ऑफ द स्कूल स्टडीज और एनी काइंड्स ऑफ एजुकेशन. One in the interest of the public and one in the interest of your own individual freedom. So this is the policies made by the governments in the democratic alliances like this. They keep it, they secure their office first. They will never be happy if the public is talking more against them and about them. And the ultimate is freedom. A person is free to talk, can discuss and debate upon God, government, anybody. So ये फ्रीडम आपको नहीं दिया गया है. ये टॉपिक्स धीरे धीरे आने वाले 10 years में लोग भूल जाएंगे कि हमारा स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, स्टेट लेवल, नेशनल लेवल, जुडिशरी लेवल. So now if you ask the modern children, they don't know. They have a very little information and little interest about this. So they are trying to kill the interest only so that this question disappears forever and their ruling becomes easier. So somehow I feel like this. But still, we'll have to wait and watch. But yeah, if you say that it will bring a change in the life of student in the school, at the school level, I don't think there will be any change. It will be more or less the same with few percentage up or few percentage down. And examination pattern and board, that may change. They may start the board at 8 as they decide, but we'll have to see. But the life will remain more or less same.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर. सर, सिंस आप इंग्लिश के टीचर हैं, तो इंग्लिश को सिलेबस में ध्यान में रखते हुए कुछ चेंजेस जो हुए हो और आपको पसंद नहीं आए हो, या आप किसी चीज को अप्रिशिएट करना चाहें अगर.
अरीब, मुझे ये पिछले करीब 15 साल से जो चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, लाइक आई विल टेक इट फ्रॉम 2005, 4 and 5 that this syllabus was changed. Now अभी हम स्कूल लेवल पे जो एनसीईआरटी का बुक्स है वो वैसा का वैसा ही है. It has not changed at all. Simply course A has gone for 10th and course B has gone, and class 11th and 12th is ever the same. Like the time I started, that was 2008 onwards, I am dealing with this 11th and 12th, is the same book. तो 12 साल में आपको कोई बुक चेंज नहीं हुआ. हाँ, क्वेश्चन पैटर्न चेंज हो रहा है कि एमसीक्यूज करें, ये करें. So what I am unhappy about, that literature has been subsided, and what we are getting some prose or simply some informative chapter. You read something, it's for comprehension. It is not for debate and discussion. So the things like, reading some classics and thinking of the anthropological issues, human values. So these things have been taken away from English also and from Hindi also. Smartly or diligently, I don't know. But yeah, it has been taken. And this makes me unhappy. Even we don't find any scope. We simply find information. You have read 500 words. You got some information on a certain topic, not concerned with you, and then you answer the questions, get good marks. That's all. So this term like critical appreciation, which this government speaks every time, this policy is also rolling on this term. Unfortunately, this has disappeared long back. So how it will take its rebirth, it's a question we all are waiting desperately.
We're talking about talking about the change in the content, and of course the changes that the policy has in store, as it says that it is gonna bring with it. So do you seriously think that are we ready? Is India ready to get more Funsuk Wangus than Chaturangulingam? Like more practical people with more practical based knowledge, or still we want those book eaters or the bookworms?
India is full of Funsuk Wangus. If you go just for 40 years, 30, 40 years back, if I go in my parents' time, we had so many genius people who could do wonders. And okay, not in the terms of books, or it's not recorded, but they were genius of their skills. We had, like, I talk of my grandfather, and every person in his age, they could tell about the weather just by feeling the air. So India was a place where you found the best goldsmiths, the best designers, the best architects, best artisans. It was the place already for the best of all these technocrats. What we have done, this schooling has somehow taken them a little down. This is school now says what school is like a pot. So to all the youngsters, I want you all to read 2 books and propose and promote the reading of these 2 books by anyone who really want to know how education should work. One is Deschooling Society by Ivan Illich. I started reading when I got this invitation, but unfortunately I couldn't complete. So this is Ivan Illich writing Deschooling Society. And one is Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Freire, or I'm forgetting the name, some Freire is there. So Pedagogy of the Oppressed and Deschooling Society, these 2 books, when you read, you find that it is very dangerous for a school teacher, and coming from a big platform like TPS to say this, but it is right that if you remove all the schools and set the children to learn through their peers in their own environmental surroundings, which in the terms of technical explanation, we call that naturalists, uh, then they will come out with the real talents and skills. Like we say that if somebody is a good sprinter, then the sports team should work on him. Instead of taking him to the maths class, he should be taken to the ground. But it is not possible at the school. It is possible that at the same place, in the same village, you find, or same small locality, you find the children playing different things, doing different things. So their action should be noticed and that should be strengthened at that point. So there are three terms. One was the sage on the stage. That was the first phase of education. Means teacher is saying whatever he said was fine. Then come the guide by the side. This was CCE, that 1986 and 92. Means I will give you some work and I will observe you what you are doing and I will guide you while you are working. And this is the time when it is the muddlers in the middle. That means I should disturb the things and I should give you more problem solving situations. And yes, if it can be given, if the concept which is so sound in hearing, if it is implemented, if really we get these muddlers in the middle, we could challenge the children, we could give them tasks, confuse them, and allow them to solve the situation, whether it's a broken machine or a broken heart. If they could do that and we could guide them, then yes, that ancient times of Fungshak Wangdu will come back. Chatur Ramalingam was the product of the schools, and Fungshak Wangdu is the natural product of India. So this English medium, another thing which we missed out, that this education policy emphasizes upon studying till class 5 in their regional language. It was there. It was already there. We are not saying a new thing. 3 languages, it is already there. We have 2. One is our mother tongue, second is Hindi, and then English. But this English mania has taken away all those interest towards the skills. So Chatur Ramalingam is the result of this English medium schools, where neither the child speaks good English, nor the parents speak good English. And I'm sorry, even the teachers you will find speaking amazing English. So how this is English medium? So this English medium or this schools caught, where if the child is smaller in size, they are pulled. But unfortunately, if he is larger than size, then he is cut. So this cot has to be removed. This in society, even a list talks of the same thing. And if you talk of the marginalized communities, then it's the pedagogy of the oppressed, where it is said that how they already have the talents, they are already learning every day. Simply we have to bring that. And there was one thing that this Atom to Byte, while I started following, and if you ask me that what the organizations like this can do, see how easy it is with this technology to reach the rural side. Everybody today has the smartphone. Now it is difficult to hire teachers who would go and teach the children at the villages. But with this multimedia, come on, the entire village walls can be used. You can create wonders in front of them. We can have this light and sound show for Somnath temple and then for your the Statue of Unity. Well, every evening some organizations like yours can create from Mumbai a show for all the villages, whereby you can share each and everything on the giant walls of their villages. So with this technology, it's very easy for us to reach the villages. And your first question's answer, in fact, is this, that yes, with this new technology, the innovations we are bringing in the medium of our schooling, that can create wonders. But it will not be created by the government. It will be created by the enthusiasts like all youngsters like you. So if we all can think, if all the privileged class can think of that, they can simply share their screenshots, share their screens, and with the projections on their wall, you can bring all the function fondos, all the, I hope IIT classes can take place in the villages these days. So it is possible, it's easy, and it's accessible. So no doubt about it. Yashasvi.
Definitely, sir. With these changes, we got before we implement these changes, we have very many changes to bring within our own self. As Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in others." With
Obviously.
this, we with this we come to the end of the session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today and giving us a more clear image about the new education policy, what it has brought for us.
Thank you so.
But But before you leave, I would like if you want to say a few words to for the team of Atom to Byte who gave us young minds this beautiful opportunity to seek answers to their curious questions.
Yashasvi, that's what I was waiting for, and that's what I tried to say. Honestly, if you ask me, I'm so grateful. I stand obliged to see these youngsters, and as I said, any change, any revolution you want to see in this country, that will come through the young shoulders. And the initiative taken by Atom 2 Byte, I appreciate. I never appreciated any NGO for bringing any social welfare because that was for a very small cause. But if you have decided to reach the remote corners of this country and you are quite determined about it, this is the humblest of the intentions you are governed with. And I will wish as well as I will pray, though I'm an agnostic, but still I will sit before the God to pray that these youngsters and many more millions like you should come. And if all of you come together and you want your fellow beings to join you, obviously India will be one. We will be having a single nation where everybody will be educated, literate, tech-savvy, experts, and we will find all the great scientists coming from even that corner of Tripura, Mizoram, and Arunachal also, where there is no school till now.
Once again, thank you so much, sir. I'm sure that all of our audience got the answers of their questions. Thank you, everyone who was with us this evening. At last, I would like to say that the part two question is the basis of all human progress, and a little progress each day adds up to a big result. So keep seeking answers to your questions and be curious. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yashasvi.